Kyle, if you're watching this, then you and your group have failed science methods and concepts.
Concepts and methods.
And it was probably your fault.
But there are a few things we think that you should know.
First things first, we're going to teach you a little bit about UV rays. Do you know what the UV and UV rays stands for, Kyle? I didn't think you'd get that anyways. UV stands for ultraviolet.
Ultraviolet rays are part of the electromagnetic spectrum. This includes things like gamma rays, microwaves, all kinds of fun stuff. But what we're talking about is ultraviolet rays.
Ultraviolet rays are a form of wave that is smaller than the eye can see. They range from 100 to 400 nanometers. And the shorter the wavelength, the higher the energy in the wave.
There are three kinds of ultraviolet rays: ultraviolet A, ultraviolet B, and ultraviolet C. They are classified by their different wavelengths.
All right, Kyle, let's talk about UVA. Say it with me, UVA. See, here's what's important to know about UVA. It has a wavelength of about 320 nanometers. That's really small. It's also the most common type to make it from the sun to the earth.
UVB rays are between the wavelengths of 280 and 320 nanometers. 95% of them are absorbed by the Earth's atmosphere. They're somewhat harmful and they can cause sunburn.
UVC ranges from 200 to 280 nanometers. It is the most harmful of all the different kinds of UV rays, but most of it is absorbed by the Earth's atmosphere.
Second things second, let's talk about the atmosphere. Do you know where the atmosphere is, Kyle? No, silly goose. The atmosphere is all around us and above us. And here's what you need to know. The atmosphere is made up of 5 primary layers. Say that with me. 5 primary layers.
The 5 layers of the atmosphere, starting closest to us to farthest away, are the troposphere, the stratosphere, the mesosphere, the thermosphere, and the exosphere.
Now that's important and all, but what is really important is the ozone layer. The ozone layer is located in the stratosphere.
Good evening. So, how is ozone made? Ozone is made when ultraviolet rays hit oxygen particles, dividing them, creating a new oxygen particle called atomic oxygen. When 2 atomic oxygen particles combine, they make the particle known as ozone.
So Kyle, let's review. We learned a lot of complicated stuff, but it's really not that complicated. So first, you've got UVC. Most of UVC is absorbed in the atmosphere by making ozone. This is really important because UVC is really, really, really dangerous. Then you've got UVB. About 95% of that gets absorbed in the atmosphere and turned into ozone. This is also good because it's also pretty dangerous, but the 5% that makes it to the Earth, it's not that bad. Lastly, we have UVA. UVA mostly makes it to the Earth's atmosphere instead of getting turned into ozone. And that's not a big deal because it's really not that harmful. Okay, Kyle, let's do some review questions. First, can you tell me what the 3 different types of UV radiation are? That's right! No. How aren't you getting this? How is this my life? I can't. You'll get them next time, Kyle. It's actually pretty simple. They're UVA, UVB, and UVC.
Kyle, what's the layer of the atmosphere that is made by ultraviolet rays that also protects us from ultraviolet rays? No, that's not it. It's okay. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. The answer is ozone.
Now it's time to talk about the dark side of ultraviolet radiation. So let's talk about UV rays and how we interact with UV rays and how the ozone layer plays into that.
To ultraviolet radiation early in life, particularly at levels sufficient to cause sunburns, makes people more prone to melanoma than exposure later in life. About 48,000 Americans developed malignant melanoma in 2000, and about 7,700 died from it. The increase in sunbathing and the decrease in ozone over the past few decades are responsible for the increase in incidence of skin cancer. Ultraviolet radiation causes skin cancer by damaging the DNA of skin cells. A sunny day at the beach can cause skin cells to suffer 100,000 to 1,000,000 damaged sites in its DNA. If this DNA damage occurs in important growth regulation genes known as oncogenes or tumor suppressor genes, then the cells may proliferate uncontrollably into cancer.
One of the most detrimental effects of UV radiation is the effect that it has on the skin through the cancer melanoma.
Oh, hi, Kyle. Another one of the negative effects is sunburn. You've probably experienced sunburn before. It's caused when UV rays from UVB, remember when we talked about UVB, penetrates through the cells of your skin and causes irritation.
And now, a word from our expert about how sunscreen works.
Alright Kyle, when you're choosing a sunscreen, it's very important to make sure you choose something that has both UVA and UVB sun protection factors. Additionally, when you're choosing an SPF, you want to make sure you choose something that is a higher number. The higher number corresponds to how well it's going to protect you from the sun's harmful radiation. For example, if you choose an SPF factor of 10, that means you could stay out in the sun 10 times longer than you normally would if you get burnt. So for example, most people get burnt in about 10 minutes of sun exposure. But if you have SPF sunscreen 10 on, you can stay out there for about 100 minutes before you get burnt. Another way to factor that in is take 1 divided by the number of the SPF, and that's how well protected you are in terms of how much the radiation gets through. So sun's SPF 10, 1 over 10, 10% of the UV radiation would still be getting through to you. So something like SPF 50, a very high sun protection factor, means about 2% of the light's radiation is getting through to you. So always choose a good sunscreen, Kyle.
Thank you for your expertise.
So Kyle, we've talked about the detrimental effects of UV rays, but do you think it's possible that there could be positive effects from UV rays? I'm gonna assume you said no, but the answer is actually yes. There are positive benefits that come from ultraviolet radiation exposure to skin, such as vitamin D.
Our skin converts UV rays into vitamin D, which is helpful for bone growth, support of the immune system, and ironically, cancer prevention.
Well, that's all the information we had. And honestly, Kyle, I think if you paid good attention to this video, took really good notes, you might just pass.
You can do it, buddy.
Yeah, we believe in you.